and the data shows that there have been inroads among Black men. I want to ask why, because it is frustrating to me, and it feels heartbreaking, to be honest, because we are impacted by this system as well. It's not a matter of who's impacted worse. We're impacted differently. We sit at the intersection of being Black and being women. And so when men are frustrated with this system, it feels like they fight us.
You think I'm here to play around with y'all? God damn ya!
Wait.
It's absolutely absurd.
I'm done. I'm over it. Hi everyone, welcome back to Themis and Thought. Grab your coffee, water, tea, whatever you're drinking, go and get that. This is a Tuesday morning take. Glad to see you here with me. And let's talk about leadership. Let's talk about leadership. I think it is time to put this leadership thing together so that we can bury it. Okay, cool. We're putting this leadership thing together so that y'all can bury it. Okay. Initially, I was going to only focus on Chris Williamson. If you don't know who he is, he's that guy who is selling men sex appeal, like fully capitalizing on homosocial bonding, selling these men the sex appeal so that he can sell them whatever he's trying to sell them, including but not limited to victimhood. That's my assessment of his content and him being in the manosphere, but not really a manosphere man, just kind of co-opting the language and selling it back to men with a different kind of face. After I was kind of working my way through the interview with him, Chris, that is, and Bernie Sanders, and we're going to talk about that, I came across this video because Sin again posted it on her Patreon. And this is a video of Bakari, who is going to be talking about men's place. So after I saw the video that I'm about to play with Bakari, I realized, yeah, it's time we revisit this to put it to bed. So this is the video.
It is frustrating to me, and it feels heartbreaking, to be honest, because we are impacted by this system as well. It's not a matter of who's impacted worse. We're impacted differently. We sit at the intersection of being Black and being women. And so when men are frustrated with this system, it feels like they fight us. And I would put Stephen A. Smith in that category too. I'm mad at y'all for having joy. I'm mad at y'all for having success. I'm mad at y'all for surpassing us on college campuses. And so it's a small sect of men that are so angry and hurt that they're willing to align with the people who oppress us. What am I getting wrong? Because if you listen to Stephen A. Smith and you find anything other than some absolute pure self-hating little dick energy nonsense from that half-witted idiot basking in the non-existent rays of his own ignorance, it is sad to me that he even gets an audience of Black men. Why aren't Black men right now saying, F Stephen A. Smith, we banning him, we not listening to his podcast, we're not watching his show anymore? That's what Black women do. We organize.
Yeah, but this.
Okay, so I wanted to introduce what led up to the conversation Bakari is about to engage. But I think Tiffany's frustration, I can fully understand. I think her frustration is real. It's visceral. You can feel her being annoyed and confused. And I think part of that comes from an unwillingness to acknowledge the why. That could be and probably is because when women are getting freedom, men are feeling like they are under attack. And so the party that says that they're going to subjugate women and put women back in their place and take America back to some idea of Americana prior to the sexual revolution and feminist movement, that is enticing to a very specific group of men probably who have no power, who wants to subjugate women and feel like with a society that women are at the bottom, where women do not have options for employment. They want to be a part of a group that will help in the subjugation of women, because there is this idea that prior to the sexual revolution and the feminist movement, that women knew their place and they want women to, quote, know their place again. In any case, I'm not here to talk about Tiffany. I understand she's sad. I feel bad for her, but I think she's only sad because of her ideas around manhood and black manhood in particular, and her unwillingness to accept that there might be more than a few men who like the ideas around subjugating women. she might not be aware of this. So I'm just going to give her grace, move on from her, and let's get into what Bakari's saying.
You asked the question why.
Yes, tell me why.
So, by the way, I love the usage of adjectives.
I'm sure I messed it up somewhere.
But the answer to the question why is kind of twofold. Black men showed up. We were the third largest demographic voting for. You had black women, you had Jews as a collective, and then you had black men, somewhere between 74, 76% voting for Kamala Harris. And so, yeah, it's not a large number. We still are there. But the slippage you've seen is twofold. The first is that there's been no party, no group, which for the past 20, 30 years has taken the time to listen to black men holistically. And many times we are spoken to about policy. That policy revolves around things like criminal justice.
Mm-hmm.
But very, and marijuana. But very rarely do we have wholesome, fulsome conversations about the black men who are out there struggling to pay for early childhood education, child support, right? You know, how that
wages.
You know, when the craziest thing is when you get locked up for child support, do you know that your child support continues to grow?
Of course.
Like your driver's license gets suspended.
It's an unbreakable cycle.
It's an unbreakable cycle, right? I mean, just opportunities, STEM opportunities. So just having a holistic, fulsome conversation around black men is something that hasn't happened. The other thing is, which is a question that we have to answer, and hopefully we'll untangle it over the next, 100 episodes.
Certainly while you're here.
Certainly while I'm here is, there are a lot of black men who question whether or not they have the ability to breathe and lead in an era of black girl magic.
I would say
You're worried about your inability to pay child support and pay for early childhood education, talking about going to prison and still having to pay child support. But you're trying to figure out leadership. Man, the fact that leadership.
Don't just dream about what you're going to do. Don't criticize somebody else for what they're not doing. You be it. Be about it. Be about that action and go do it.
Okay, let's take some of this in part. Let's go from front to back. He says, no one listens to black men. When RFK was running for president and was in a barbershop with Killer Mike and them, what were they talking about?
But it goes, but the child support, the abortion, and all those things are all collective things in my summation to stop procreation anyway for melanated people in America. If we go back to having indigenous ways and live under theocracy instead of just a democracy, theocracy was saying, let's obey the laws of the Most High. Let's obey the laws of the land for real. Not the laws of man. The laws of the land say if it's cold, you get a jacket. If it's hot, you get some shade. If you plant a seed, it creates a harvest and you can have fruit or vegetation. But we're obeying the laws of man. And so when we start obeying the laws of man, now we get out of theocracy and we go to democracy. And the prefix to democracy is demon. And that's why the system is demonic.
Because it is interesting that you now, Bakari, had the mic to talk about policies that black men wanted to see and men wanted to see, but specifically black men wanted to see for them to stay on the left. You said child support also. You also said child support. We'll get to leadership in a minute. You also said child support. So is it the contention of black men that the reformation of the child support system is their biggest problem in America? Wait. Is the biggest problem for black men in America the child support system? The child support system. How is the child support system and child support a black man specific issue where black women are also the least likely of any group of women in the US to put black men, on child support? How is this a black men specific problem? If you cannot afford to be a father, why would you have children? At this stage, we all know about the child support system. So, like, let's assume you are being placed on child support to help provide for your child. If you don't want to pay child support, don't have children. Don't impregnate. Like, I'm confused why Bakari is presenting this as if it's something that men can control. Can men not decide to not impregnate women? Like, you can decide, as a man, you can decide to not impregnate a woman, and thus the issue of child support, this because when you have a child, it seems odd that Bakari seems surprised that a man who has a child, even when you're incarcerated, that you would still be expected to pay child support. Like, obviously this is harder, but when you get out, then you have to figure out how to pay your child support. And to the extent that there should be some leniency in terms of how the government interact with a man who was incarcerated so that he could get back on his feet and pay child support, we can have that discussion. Yeah, sure, I'm with you. But yes, there is an expectation that the child that will still exist and will still need support when you're in prison would get that support from you, even retroactively. So the mother on her own is taking care of a child while you're incarcerated. When you're free, the expectation should be that you pay her back and help further support the child. Like, what do you, yes. Now, how the government goes about sort of extracting finances from you when you are free, and whether or not they should care about sort of your ability to drive and travel and all of that, there is some room for a debate about the how, but you definitely should. Yes, the child still exists. The child still needs support, even when you're in prison. Did the child put you in prison? Did the child put you in prison? What do you mean you want to stop taking care of your child because you're in prison? Anyway, let's continue. By the way, before we move on, it is insane to me that child support is such a central part of the discussion around policy for black men. Like, I find that very odd. Like, I find that, like, kind of insane. I don't know about you, but that seems insane. A group of men who are complaining that they cannot pay child support, that they're being locked up, and all of the things, right? Why is leadership in your vocabulary? Like, lead who exactly? Who should you be leading? Instead of learning, I don't know, leaning in, lending support, you took that L. All of the things you could have been doing with that L that you have, you want to use that L to lead. That's what you're telling me. So instead of learning, listening, I don't know, you want to lead. You have nothing to offer economically, but you want to lead in a capitalist society. Not even, he didn't ask, in this black girl magic world or society, what opportunities do we have to coexist and become better partners and learn? from these women doing well. He's talking about leadership. There are no opportunities for you to lead, girl. You need to learn something first. You need to follow. You need to follow first before you start trying to lead. In what world does this make sense? Let's continue. Let's continue listening to this.
What I would add,
that?
because I disagree on the latter point, but I do agree to this one, which is I think black men want the bag too. And we on the Democratic side don't talk enough, if at all,
Or listen.
about how I'm gonna help you prosper. What does prosperity for us look like? So if at every turn you're the deficit end of the equation, every turn somebody's got to do something for you, you're not making room. And one thing that Trump's talking points appear to do is to put you on track or on alignment with getting a bag. I don't think that is wholesale widespread.
Yeah.
Stephen A. Smith, I think he does have issues with black women, but I also think the brother's also trying to get and maintain and grow a bag. And he's similar to a lot of the black Republicans.
All right, guys, let me tell you what prosperity doesn't look like. I'm going to tell you what prosperity does not look like. Andrew Gillum down in Florida in a hotel room, a motel room with drugs. I think it was Andrew Gillum in a motel room with a gay stripper having meth all over the hotel room, arrested while his wife and kids were at home? Because there was a bag of some kind of drugs in that hotel. Is that the bag Andrew Gillum wants? I'm sorry. It's just like the last time we saw Gillum, the last time we saw Andrew, he was down in Florida in a motel with a gay stripper and drugs, getting arrested while the wife and kids were at home. Is that the bag that he wants? Is this the person speaking about policies for black men to be better and do? Period. You better eat. Also, none of the women at the table, none of the women in the podcast, none of y'all, Tiffany, Angela, y'all not going to speak up about male leadership. It's just, look. I had to put that out there. This is a conversation happening online about leadership right now. Right now, as we speak, these men are talking about subjugation, not having anything, prison, not being able to pay child support, but wanting to lead. It is with that we think about leadership in the back of our minds, and we move forward to go talk about Chris Williamson interviewing Bernie Sanders, and he's going to talk about something near and dear to his heart, because he's a men's rights activist. Regardless of what he says, he's a men's rights activist. So let's get into Chris Williamson. With all of these problems that were lined out, the fact that women are still running around talking about how men are leaders naturally is absolutely wild. Then they will ignore the fact that in their victimhood, they're also attempting to be leaders. Let me just say this. Please, if you can hear my voice, drop the act. Men aren't leaders by virtue of their manhood. It's never been the case. Men aren't protectors by virtue of their manhood. Men aren't providers by virtue of their manhood. This has never been the case. Men need help. Not because we are men, but because of some descriptor in front of men. Be that poor, be that sad, be that depressed, be that whatever you want to put in there, right? Men are in need of help in a system that is in fact a patriarchy. Not a bad thing. Patriarchy affects both men and women negatively, but it actually promotes men more than it does women, and men, we are failing in it. Therefore, it is hard to believe that these men are leaders while we are falling apart because we're men. Like, that's insane. Anyway, I'm going to end it there. Hopefully that was a bow on top of a dusty cake, and hopefully you guys can let it go that these men are your leaders. Please, and thank you. All right. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to end it there. That was a Tuesday morning take on masculinity, man, and leadership. They are not intrinsic. Leadership is not intrinsic in manhood. I am so sorry. Let it go. let that dusty idea go. All right. Before I go and tell you to like, share, comment, and subscribe, I want to go back to our last video, and I wanted to show you all a comment that it was from April, May 1061. I think the comment has all the parts of being amazing, but for some reason it doesn't sit right with me. April girl, love you down, wherever you are in this world. This is nothing personal, but it is how we go over comments. So April says, the last video was about a side chick coming out here being disrespectful. The side chick gets to have the fun parts of that man without any of the other responsibilities the wife would have to contribute to being with him. She's stealing what the wife should be experiencing: her husband's time, attention, cooperation, love, and him making her the only priority in his life, outside of any child or children they may have. All the side chick is really getting is all the side chick is really getting is crumbs. Now, I chose this comment to read because I you open with the side chick is getting the fun parts of the man, but you close with all the side chick is getting is crumbs. And somewhere in the middle, it was that the wife had to do a lot where the side chick doesn't. And I'm not sure I fully understand. And this is why I find this comment specifically interesting, because I actually want to understand. So April, if you're here, girl, let me know and come upon the live stream on Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And let's discuss this comment, because I do want to understand. I am confused, but I feel like I slightly want to agree. But yeah, so I feel like I want to agree. I feel like I kind of agree, but I'm not sure. So let me know if you're free on Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and let's discuss this comment. All right, cool. I'll see you all later. Remember to comment so I can respond to your comment, and we might have a debate if I disagree with you, or if I agree with you, just chop it up. All right, have a good one. Bye.